Radio. It's Jobber Radio. It's Jobber Radio. Oh, wrestling podcast featuring Matt Stallion, Bomber Rap, Scott and Lee, and the one and only Peanut. It's Jobber Radio. Jobber Radio. It's Jobber Radio. It's Jobber Radio. It's Jobber Radio. Bitches.
I'd love to see The Rock as champion. Vince goes, all right, it's 20 million.
And it's like, well, what? Why? Oh, Saudis. Oh, okay. He's gonna outdo Michaels if he gets the chances.
It's gonna be surreal seeing him wrestle bald, though. All right, and welcome everybody to Jobber Radio. Jake, aka Bomber, is out on vacation. I think it would have been better if he had told us to say he was out on injury. He tore his rotator cuff, but he'll be back. He'll be back next week. That's how it works. So we only have myself and Scott because everybody else failed miserably to show up. But Scott, hello there. How are you, dude?
Hey, not bad, not bad. And it's not for anything like last minute. We did have advance notice, and the plan was to record. Yeah. So early today, I'm like, so we're good, right?
Lee is only...
And there was question marks everywhere. Lee got screwed.
Yeah, Lee got screwed. Lee, you're the only one that's excused out of this. Everybody else failed miserably.
We either didn't hear anything or what.
Rab and Peanut both said no, but they didn't really say why. They were just like, can't make it. And Lee was I'm so sorry.
Lee was going to try for like 8 or 9 or something, and then work screwed him over, and then it got worse, and it's just us.
Well, so there's not like a ton of news to talk about anyway. There's a few key things. But I think like one of the topics we're going to talk about is I really am quite burned out and bored with WWE, the current product we have right now. And I think that one of our topics we're just going to jump into is the fact that Raw has now, not only 1 week, it did the second lowest number they've ever done, then it did lower than that. So they still haven't hit rock bottom, but this is like right before you hit rock bottom. And
that's telling, considering that there's not much to talk about, and yet there's so many shows. Like, there should be a lot to talk about, literally just based on volume alone. Yeah. And then all the other stuff as well. Like, we're not even mentioning Independent and New Japan and stuff. But for WWE, you're right. There is a bit of burnout. I am, like, habitual. I always follow it. I always do. But honestly, I don't watch Raw or SmackDown. People are, like, even in the Discord chat.
Me neither. No, I haven't in
They're
a
like,
long time.
so you ready for Raw? I'm like, I don't watch it. But for me, I don't have cable TV, so I don't watch it. I don't have the network.
See,
we've gone over this.
Then. I'm worse.
But if
I'm not, because I just don't want to.
No, but that's the thing. I'm doing other stuff and following along on Twitter, so I'm able to do things. And what's over here? So I can multitask it. I have a feeling, even if I could watch it, it would be in the background and it would not be my focus. It wouldn't. I really don't think it would, because 3 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Tuesday, mixed matches another hour. They moved.
Oh no! Please stop talking. No more. No more mentioning it. I don't need to know these things exist. Just stop.
No, NXT is an hour on Wednesday. They moved 205 live to Wednesday, but they still tape it. No, they still tape it on Tuesday, so it's not live, but it's 205 live on Wednesday. NXT's rumored to go 2 hours. SmackDown's going to move to Fridays in the next year, and then there's all the goddamn shows where they shoehorn in an Evolution and they shoehorn in a Crown Jewel.
I'm all out.
Right?
I'm all out.
I get the idea of we can give you all the programming you want, but do we really want all this?
I mean, okay, from a company standpoint, it's very intelligent business-wise what they're doing by expanding out, but I feel as though it's like a universe that keeps... If you expand a universe so far, like one of the big theories of how this whole existence of ours is going to end, the universe, we're going to be long gone before this happens, but in the life cycle of our entire universe, it's going to expand so far out that it loses all the heat and it just ends up freezing to death. That's what the fuck is happening right now. It's so much, so fast, and maybe I think that they have a chance to course correct when the product gets hot again. Again, when Triple H takes over, and we get more of an NXT style booking where people actually are invested and care. But it's just like right now, you're trying to expand a cold product. It is not hot right now. From a business standpoint, it is, but it's almost like the economy. Like, people say, oh, it's doing so well, and on paper it is, but then you look at it in reality and you go, like, at least the United States economy, you go, oh, no, it's not. We're not doing great.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing great. And that's what it feels like with WWE.
And it's a weird thing. I don't often harken back to the Attitude Era like it's the glory days like some people do. But it was hot for business. And I remember when Raw went from an hour to 2 hours. Oh, man, I get 2 hours every Monday. That's awesome.
That was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
And that was cool. And that was great.
It was the
and
length.
I remember when Raw started to be a thing, I still remember watching back on like the Saturday Wrestling Challenge and shit like that, when it was like, you get to see Undertaker fight a nobody, somebody else fight a nobody, and then maybe an important match of like Doink versus something. Like that was what it was. And then Raw was like, no, it's Mr. Perfect versus Bret Hart. Oh, that's like pay-per-view matches. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what they always were. And then it was 2 hours of that. And you couldn't wait for the next Monday. And then they added SmackDown. I'm like, okay, I get to watch this twice in a row. And then they kept going. And we're at the point now when you watch Raw and it's 3 hours, you're like, man, I can
so
wait.
Time-consuming.
I can wait.
Yeah. I can wait.
Oh, but I don't have to. It's tomorrow. And it's a weird thing where people can't get enough. No, there is enough.
And they definitely have some fans, though, that are, like, I would call... See, I think there's 3 layers of fans now. You have, obviously, your casuals. You know, they'll always be around. They'll come and go. Then you have us, where I'd call us, obviously, we're smarks. Like, we're smart to the business. I have even been, to a few training sessions. I know how wrestling works overall, and you do, too. So, but then I think there's a new layer. And it's the WWE whales. So, in the gaming industry, specifically in the AAA industry, a big game will come out, and let's say the 2K series is classic for this shit. WWE is not, the WWE 2K games don't really fall into this umbrella yet. Maybe they will, but like the basketball games, all that stuff. So what they do is they have these items available that will boost your experience, or it's a cheap-ass way to get you to buy microtransactions. And so WWE now has their own whales. WWE has these people that support them. It's just above and beyond. They'll buy everything that they have. I feel like the whales are what are helping to overinflate their business right now too. Mm-hmm. But it's 100% the Fox purchase. Like the Fox purchase for the SmackDown TV rights. For 5 years, it bumped them up, and now they're worth more than ever before. Like, this is the most this company has ever been worth, or any wrestling company in the history of the entire world. But now, like, I had that interaction with Goldust on Twitter, and what happened with that was he was talking some major shit to fans that were just questioning some booking decisions about the Becky Lynch storyline. He basically just insulted him. So I said, you know what? Normally, I don't really care too much. I've seen Road Dogg talk some shit, so I just throw Road Dogg some shade on Twitter. But I was like, okay, I'll throw him, a tweet. He blocked me immediately, and I thought it was a pretty. You can see the video on Reckless Eating about it, but I thought it was a pretty stern but not aggressive. Like I was telling him how I felt, but I wasn't being insulting.
Yeah. Well, and the worst part is, I remember your quote from that. One of his quotes back was, fans don't go in with expectations.
Yeah,
fans just go and enjoy it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Fans don't go in with expectations.
But you know what that is,
the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But I get where part of what he's coming across is the idea of, like, you don't go in expecting unrealistic things. But no, I go in expecting to see a story. And if you're failing at telling it and it's going this way, they used to adapt. They did. Everything needs to adapt. And if you don't, you WCW it and go out in a year or two. That's the best example, because that's a wrestling company. But everything happens like that. Video game companies, movie companies, if you don't adapt to your audience, they're going to leave you behind. So it's ridiculous. The fact that he did that and said that. I think Road Dogg is trolling sometimes, honestly, but I think he actually believes it too. But Goldust,
I think he believes it. I think Road Dogg 100% believes it. You know what? The difference is because Road Dogg, and I know some people are going to say this is weird, but Road Dogg and Goldust are openly, like, religious. Yeah. And so every time, I've seen this happen a couple times with Road Dogg and him, he'll, like, get into a spat with some fans and go on, like, a blocking spree. And then, like, a day later, he'll post about how Jesus accepts you and, like, I'm so lucky for... It's like, it seems like it's like a warm blanket that they can, like, run back on when they're being shit at their job and treating people who support the company almost unconditionally to a point if they put up with them for this long. But my point wasn't to just shit on Goldust, even though go fuck yourself, Goldust. My point was that the company, the people who represent the company are publicly acting as though nothing matters. As though, oh, well, obviously the company's worth so much right now that we're on top and we know better than you. Like, we're worth so much because we're better. That is how... Not everybody, because a lot of the wrestlers don't really... I've actually never seen any of the wrestlers have that mindset. If anything, the wrestlers seem frustrated as fuck. But it's the creative side. The creative side seems to come out and constantly contradict themselves. Stephanie coming out and saying that we listen to fans. Well, if you listen to fans, why the fuck are your writers on Twitter talking shit to fans? You know, I just don't understand why that's really a thing. Well, and that's what my point is that the company has grown so fucking bloated and large and fat that it's happy with its current state. And WCW was a giant at one point, and it looked to the point where they were going to put Vince out of fucking business. They had a great TV deal. They were worth a lot, granted, not as much as WWE is right now. Times are changed, though, with inflation and shit. But the whole point was that they thought that they were invincible, and they're not. And WWE is acting like WCW used to act back in the day, especially like pushing old talent over new talent again. Like highlighting, bringing back, you know, like the old man crew of... Shawn Michaels and Triple H's DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. Yeah,
when I saw that, someone posted, like, what year is it? With Robin Williams Jumanji. And it is that. And I get, like, there's the nostalgia act. They have a place on the card, even, too. Like, there's no... You can do that. They've always done that. Yeah. It's not a problem to have a Legends match.
I wanted to say, before you continue, I did want to say, I like it. It's the only thing happening right now in the company that I'm actually paying attention to. But I say it's just... It's depressing to me, though, that it is the best thing going on. That's sad.
Like Goldberg.
It shouldn't be. Yeah, it shouldn't be that the case.
It's like what Goldberg was. It was like this works. This is cool. This is good. But everything should be like this. You should strive to have everything be this way.
Everything should be this
good,
And the
problem is, this should be this good, and then the stuff with Roman and Braun and all that, the main stuff for the title,
it makes no
and
sense.
AJ and Joe, that should be that, but even better.
So let's say, the other segment we're going to talk about here was we're going to talk about Michaels. So I am not totally in the camp, because I've seen some people that are super against him coming back. I'm not in that camp. I know that I would have preferred for him to stay retired, but then the more and more I think about it, he looks great. Other than, you know, the weirdness of seeing him bald was quite staggering, especially for a guy who has as much money as he has. Why the fuck didn't he get hair plugs that were like invincible years ago? I don't get that, but it's okay. So, but if he looks like he has the passion for it. He looked like he was having a good time out there, and he also is in great shape. And I know for a fact that he wrestles matches with the NXT people. So he's ready. He can go. And the amount of money that they are going to throw at him is going to be fucking disgusting. So he might as well. And again, I have one caveat here. You have as many matches with as many Undertaker, Kane, whoever the fuck you want. But you better, goddamn, on your way out, your final way out, because I do think that this is going to be a one-time thing and he's going to be done. Or at least a one-time run. I don't think it's going to be a one-time match. But you better fucking face AJ Styles at WrestleMania, you piece of shit. If you fuck us out of seeing a dream match so that you can face, because the rumor is that it's going to be Undertaker one-on-one. No, thank you. Here's my thing. They already had the best match of all time. Okay? Like, a lot of people think that Undertaker versus Michaels at 25 is the best of all time. And I would say, yeah, it's pretty damn good. I think there are better storyline matches, but from an actual pure wrestling standpoint and a spectacle, it's the best. Don't like drag these guys out when it's 10 years later.
They already tried to do it again, and it wasn't as good the second time.
Yeah. Oh, in their prime.
Don't
in their
try
prime,
it
you know?
Again.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, he's got to have a few fresh matches. He just has to. And Styles has to be number one on that list.
Well, because he's the new Shawn Michaels.
They've teased it before.
We've talked about this. He's going to outdo Michaels if he gets the chances. And that's one of those ways to do it.
Oh, God, and if anybody can make Shawn look like the old Shawn Michaels, if he's not quite there, you know, like a Kurt Angle situation, it's going to be AJ Styles, because he is the best wrestler on the entire planet, in my opinion, still. And
he said they're going to throw a lot of money at him. There's a lot of money that they're going to be able to throw around, not just the Fox thing, but the Saudi money. People joke about that, but have you heard the rumors about the April show?
No.
Okay, so the rumor is the Saudis want The Rock to defend there as the WWE champion.
Oh, God.
They are willing to pay $20 million for that.
Okay, so let me tell you why I hate this, okay? Again, now, from a company standpoint, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. All political beliefs aside, whatever you think of the Saudi people, all of that completely out the door from a wrestling standpoint. I hate this because I feel like we have an outside country determining our company's direction and course for like the rest of time because they're giving them so much money. How fucking random is now? Granted, it's a kind of a good thing because some people are going to get to see Shawn Michaels wrestle that never got to. But at the same time, it feels like they're just like pushing us in the direction. They're like, I'd love to see The Rock as champion. And Vince goes, all right, it's 20 million.
Well, and that's the thing, because that means it's probably going to be The Rock wins the Rumble, wins the title from Roman. And although that's the Universal, who knows what is it? AJ then?
They were already kind of discussing.
Rock and Roman is the rumor, and they said that because of the timing of it, Rock will make like $30 million in 3 weeks for 2 matches.
Isn't it fucking crazy though that The Rock? I'm sorry, not The Rock. Roman, he's gonna break the record for most consecutive WrestleMania main events.
Yep,
it'll be. This is number 4, right?
Yeah, because I mean, we talked about that before. Cena only had 3, and I think Hogan only actually had 3.
Yeah,
he did 1, 2, and 3. He did 5 and 6. And 7, but not 8. Oh wait, no, sorry, 8, 4. It is 4. Hogan and 4. Sid was that one? Yeah. Okay. And you could technically say 9 with the Yokozuna bullshit, but
so he's gonna tie Hogan for most.
Oh, he will tie Hogan. Yeah, he's already at 4.
So Hogan was at 4. Oh wait, is Roman at? Wait, how many? Let's backtrack through this real quick. How many?
30.
Yes,
with a triple threat.
With Lesnar,
31
Triple
was
Triple H, then Undertaker.
32 was Taker, and 33
and then Brock
was
again. Yeah,
so he's already got 4.
He is gonna pass Hogan then at 5.
Oh, he'll do it. He'll do it no matter what, unless somehow he.
They have never pushed somebody this hard in the entire history of the company.
Not even Cena.
Not even Cena. And it felt bad too.
Cena was in title matches, but he wasn't main event. He was like triple threat with Orton and something at 24 or some shit. So yeah,
he was just a heel right now, and there'll be another a point of contention. Let's talk real quick about the HBK thing though and bring it back. So what would you ideally like to see? Like, how would you like to play this situation out? Obviously, he's going to get involved in the match at the Super Showdown, and then they're going to do the tag match where he comes back, and it's going to be DX versus Undertaker and Kane, which is hilarious.
That's crown jewel.
Because once again, they were promoting the fact that this is Undertaker and Triple H's last time versus each other, and yet they already have the next one booked. That's fucking carny, kids. That's WWE carny booking right there, telling you to your face that this is it. Last time these guys are going to fight, and knowing in the back of their head,
well, that's how they get you. That is,
man.
Like you said, that's old school. That's literally, it
is. It's carny. How would you want this to play out after that, though? Because, I mean, they're doing that. I would be shocked if they didn't go in that direction.
I don't like the idea of Michaels coming back, because it was always like, if anyone's going to be retired, it's him. Because even Flair came back in TNA for a bit, but he's never wrestled WWE, so he's like, I'll never wrestle here.
It's not real. It's not a real sporting event. It's just a fake show. It's like an actor coming back for a movie or something.
It becomes a running joke when you've got like the Terry Funks and the Mick Foleys and that. But hey, Michaels never did. Cool. Now he's going to. Well, I'm kind of okay with him coming back, considering it's against the guy that put him out. That works to bring it back. That's the one way I'm like, all right, that's cool.
He's gonna have to pin
I have
Undertaker,
no idea.
though.
It's gonna be fine, but yeah, it's gonna be good.
He's gonna pin Undertaker at the Saudi show. That's my guess. Is he's gonna pin him, and that's gonna set up their WrestleMania match with one another. Like they're gonna say one more. Like that makes perfect sense to me if that's the direction they're gonna go in. I hope.
I pinned you here.
It's not.
I can do it at WrestleMania. Yeah, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want it.
I don't want a third Michaels Undertaker at Mania. No. Like that's no. I don't even really want Undertaker matches anymore, but it is fun to see him come out there and have some interesting stuff. But like not a 2-minute squash with Cena. I want something out of it.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be that.
I don't like seeing him against the same fucking people over and over again. No. But unlike Brock, it makes more sense that they would keep Taker with people he's comfortable in the ring with, and not put him in there with people that maybe he might not trust or know. So I get it. I would prefer if they're going to use Taker, like have him fight fresh people. I don't just so weird to me that have Ziggler get in there and bump around for him. Yeah, help him get some people over.
Well, when Shawn Michaels first came back in 2002 with Triple H, that spun into the Elimination Chamber thing, and he had matches here and there, and he went to Mania with Chris Jericho. And that was a great match. He won it and then kicked in the balls, and it made Jericho, and it was great. I kind of see that same kind of idea with AJ. Not to be like AJ is the bad guy here, but something happens, he gets involved in that, and we go down that path. Because if AJ, I know you think that Miz is going to take the title from him, and I agree with that. that might be the Rumble or something. That frees up an AJ Michaels dream match for
man,
something.
that would be so good. I mean, it
you got
doesn't even.
Miz and Bryan going for the title, and you got Roman and Rock over there, and you got AJ and Michaels free to fight because something happened, and it could be anything. It doesn't need to be something crazy, but that's all we need. It's a similar idea where they run afoul of each other. And it's like, oh, here you're the new Michaels. Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot. And okay, well, let's see what you got. Yeah, you can't touch me. And it's like when AJ was with Cena. It's like, I'll run circles around you, and literally did. Like that's where this can go, and it could be a phenomenal match.
And
so worst, you've seen that punch,
worst case outcome: Michaels pins Undertaker in the Saudi match, faces Undertaker at WrestleMania, wins, retires Undertaker. They both walk up, hold each other's hands in the air, give each other a hug, and walk off to retired forever together.
The end of an era again.
Honestly, I mean,
they already did after Triple H's Hell in a Cell.
I could just see that being the case. Michaels is like, he justifies coming back because he's only going to be wrestling the guy that retired him, and he's just doing the favor to retire him back, and then he just leaves into the sunset. I
kind of like the idea, like, I'll only wrestle the guy who retired me until I can beat him. There's a weirdness to that.
There's a weirdness to it, for sure. He hasn't said it, but it would be a more interesting way to get him to come back, instead of just, like, taunting one another, like, a Taker just goes, hey, maybe I don't accept you wrestling other people, but you're free to wrestle me anytime. Like, we're down to fight no matter what. That would at least be interesting.
Yeah.
That Michaels would have to beat Undertaker in order to get, like, out of his retirement, too. Even that could be
unretired.
It could be pretty cool. Like, and I don't think anybody's ever done that before.
No.
At least it would make sense
storyline-wise. I like that. Yeah, that'd be good.
And then he could just walk off, have a tiny fun run. Although all those people on the roster, especially, I have one hope. One of my hopes that he's going to have matches with other people is he's a trainer down in NXT. So he probably wants to wrestle a lot of the people that he deems his kids. He's talked about it before. He was talking about on one of the podcasts. Drew was like talking about how he calls them that because Dusty used to call them that. So it's like, he loves these people. He sees them as kids, and as, he's mentoring them. I bet you he would love to have a couple of matches with a few of them, just, as like as a send-off. So I'm hoping to God, he looks, again, in great shape, but I'm just saying, if you're Michaels, if you're going to do it, you better just do it and commit to it. It's the only way that I think people will respect it. If he comes back and he just fights The Undertaker a couple times, or even just once, people are just going to fart on it. So he needs to commit and really buckle down, have one final good run, and then I think walk off into the sunset and everybody will be happy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like the idea that he earns his way back somehow with Undertaker. Like that seems to be it, even if it's not the stipulation. It's like, this is the way back, and that could work.
It's going to be surreal seeing him wrestle bald, though. I just don't know how I'm going to get around that. He's got the headband. It looks so weird when the hat came off after he fell down. Kane gave him he punched him or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just...
When he had
so
short
strange.
hair when he came back the first time, it was weird. So bald is just like, what?
If you go back and watch that segment, every single person in the crowd was looking right at him when the hat fell off. Like, you have Undertaker and Kane fighting Triple H. This is something that we have not seen in quite some time, and quite frankly, you're never going to see again. And everybody's eyes were right on Michaels. Like, what? Look at his head! It was I bet you that obviously they knew it was going to happen. I bet Triple H was like, just rip the fucking Band-Aid off, man. Like, there's nothing else you're going to be able to do about it.
Because he's been there too. He did it. So, yeah.
But Triple H isn't balding, though. He does it by
choice.
No,
but he went the buzz cut. It looked weird when he did that, too. So,
it's funny how it looked different, or it looked weird, but now I can't imagine him with any other look.
He looks normal with the grizzled beard, too.
Yeah,
it looks weirder when it's short. Yeah,
the beard's pretty great. Any other topics that you wanted to bring up? Because I pretty much got out everything that I needed to say.
Well, I was kind of thinking with the whole idea of the shows. Like, we talked about how there's so much stuff, and I kind of mentioned before.
Oh, yes, we can come back around to that, sure.
Yeah, we can kind of circle back, because, like, they used to have with the brand split, roster extension, they had one show each in the off months. So you'd have a SmackDown show and a Raw show in September, and again in October, and then Survivor Series. And then December, they each had one, and January, Rumble. Then February, they each had one. It was like, Jesus Christ, how many shows are you doing? When they combined them, they knocked a lot of those out. And they knocked even more out since. So it's pretty much one a month. And then the Greatest Rumble happened. You're like, wait, that's like 2 weeks after Mania. What?
I hate that show. I hate that show so much. Again, we were talking about how the Saudi government is like... Just like shaping and forming our wrestling. Like, they ruined Rumble stats, you son of a bitch. Like, Rumble stats are forever scarred because they're counting that Saudi Greatest Royal Rumble. Oh, yeah. I hate it.
And then they go along and we have Evolution added, which, okay, it's a women's show, which I talked about back at the Greatest Rumble. Like, just do both. Do a women's only show to give them the chance. Because it's like, hey, you guys want to shine? Let's go. And they're doing that, but also, oh, look, Crown Jewel suddenly is going to be there as well. And it's like, well, what? Why? Oh, Saudis. Oh, okay. So we're Brock Lesnar's main eventing? Oh, what? What is going on? And there's literally like 5 shows in 2 months that are pay-per-view level shows.
Yeah.
So they went from scaling back to having a calculated calendar of 16 to literally a bloated sudden calendar of 20.
Yeah.
And it's like that's worse because
that's really just the Saudi and like the expanding out to these super shows that they make sense again from a business standpoint. And I want more stuff on the network like this. But it's weird to complain about it because when you watch them, they're kind of fun. But I was bored by the Greatest Royal Rumble. I was bored.
That was 7 hours.
I did not. Well, I just didn't like it. I watched the Cena Triple H match, which was just fucking weird. Like it wasn't even. It was a horrible match. Go back and watch it. Like the fans were giving them Hogan and Rock reactions, but it was fucking boring. Like, and they were calling spots super loud. We talked about that. How Cena was like fucking just screaming like, counter me! I'm like, what is happening? And then we realized, well, because it's a house show. They didn't put any of the proper mics that they do for TV in there because they were just half-assing it. It's like, that also it could be an issue of the fact that they've never run a show there. Maybe they couldn't bring certain things in or certain things didn't work or, certain things didn't line up. But it's just like, I don't know. I'm getting sick of the Saudi government, but yet I'm also like, they're giving us Shawn Michaels back. The Saudi government could have single-handedly given us Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles. And if that's the case, then I guess I will overlook all their war crimes. What else to say?
It is Mr. WrestleMania. It's really interesting because the shows, I love the unique, weird shows that's been long established. But when they're kind of haphazard like this, it's like, yeah, but why though?
Yeah, they're doing it for as cheap as possible, which is weird with the Saudi shows. That you would think the Saudi shows, they're making more money on those than anything else in the company. More than WrestleMania, more than everything. You think that they would put at least WrestleMania level money into that. And granted, it looked better than a usual like special, but it still just looked like a house show. Like, and that's why I'm taking a wild guess. My prediction is the next Saudi show is going to look way more grand. Like, it's going to be big, because I think that this was all worked out pretty fast. So the next one's going to look more like a WrestleMania. It's going to be a big deal.
Well, it's got its own unique name, too. Crown Jewel. Like, what is going on?
It's called King of the Ring. Yeah, don't fucking... Imagine if they did, like, a sub-WrestleMania. They're like, Saudi Mania.
Yeah. Oh, God.
God damn it. So... Yeah, there's pluses and there's I think there's more negatives than positives. Getting a dream match is good, but I don't want the company and the product to suffer. And I just don't care about their storylines right now, and I don't think any of them make sense. Nothing really feels right. It all feels like it's bizarro booking and that they're just all over the place. Where
they're at right now is they're doing all these different shows for all these different markets, because they did like the Beast in the East special in Japan back when, and they did the first Roadblock was in Toronto, and different things here and there. And it reminds me of the UFC. They used to just do like pay-per-views. That was it. They were numbered. They're up to 230 now. Then they had fight nights. They do a TV special on Spike. They go around to smaller shows in the country. They go to Nebraska and things like that. And then they started doing them internationally, and they put those on their Fight Pass online thing, like the WWE Network. And now they just go all over the place, and it's almost like there's a UFC event of some kind every weekend. So they literally, like they've talked about it, where they literally just have to fill events. And this is going to be interesting. They've gone to Madison Square Garden. It was their holy grail. They always wanted to go there. They finally got to go there. It was a massive, massive WrestleMania-ish kind of event. They pulled out all the stops. It was loaded top to bottom. Did huge numbers. It was great. They went back again. Same thing. Knocked it out of the park. Great numbers. They're going back again this year. They announced the main event like 2 weeks ago. It's for the vacant women's strawweight title between two people who have a total of 10 UFC fights. One of them nobody's heard of.
Jeez.
They just have to fit, like, no disrespect to either party, but they're not draws. You wouldn't go to Mania with a Kurt Hawkins in the lead spot. That's what they're doing. And they just have to fill the card with a title fight. Here we go. That's where they're at. WWE's kind of like that. They just gotta fill shows and have programming.
They have the money there, and they have to seize it any way they can. Pretty much.
What should have been like Becky and Charlotte should have been like their feud's coming up here. Well, they literally already had Super Showdown booked with a rematch before the first match.
Well, you know Charlotte's getting that belt back. Not at the Saudi show, but at the Showdown. Has to
but then there's also Evolution, which is going to probably have that too. It's like literally, it should have been one pay-per-view, but we know literally 3 more is coming up. Yeah. And it's the same idea with AJ and Shinsuke. Now it's AJ and Joe.
Well, it's like stretching it out unnaturally. The conclusion was the last pay-per-view. Hell in a Cell was it to me. Like I think they tried. Hell in a Cell match. Yeah, it wasn't, but it felt like I was done with it. Like I lost interest after that. Even though it was a good match, I just stopped caring.
But there's no time to build up another one, so they're literally telling us SmackDown stories during pay-per-views.
So to the SmackDown,
that's my problem with it.
To the SmackDown argument, to the Joe and AJ feud, because I did see SmackDown. I was so conflicted with that interview he gave. It felt like it ran too long, and I felt like I understood his point. He said, I'm going to be with my family now because I'm going to be the husband that they need now. But when we face at the show, I'm going to be a killer. He's like, I'm going to leave you there. He's like, you're not coming home. But like the way he presented that promo, like it dragged on. It was a little too long. The somber tone was fine, but it was just weird. And then Joe going in to intimidate his family, and they cut it when he rung the bell. That was fucking dumb. Like, the announcer is going ape shit. I was like, at least show his wife. You know what would have been awesome? Is if, and I know they don't want to do this because they're trying to be more family friendly and whatnot, but it would have been awesome if, like, she started yelling at him on the other side of the door, like, get out of here, Joe. Like, you get out of here. Like, you son of a bitch, blah, blah, blah. And have him, like, punch the window through or something, and then it cuts. You know, like, make it seem like it's something more.
Yeah, like,
all they did was ring the bell.
Now we're gonna cut it.
What is he gonna do? Rape his wife? I don't understand what they insinuated Joe was gonna do. He wasn't gonna beat him up. He wasn't gonna break the law. He rung the bell and intimidated his wife. It's Samoa Joe. These guys know each other for like 20 years, and the AJ all of a sudden isn't gonna go like, oh well, I just didn't suspect that you were a rapist, Joe.
I miss the days when people fought over a title because they wanted to be the champion. Joe made it personal to get in and said, I get that. Fair enough.
This has a place for that.
But why is Joe like, oh, now AJ's like, oh, now I'm going to do it. It's the third match.
It's too late now. Yeah, this is something he should have done like before the first match, or if he got more vicious about it, before the second match because he lost, so now he's trying to get in his head. Yeah, this just feels like
just Samoa Joe should just be like, I'm going to take the title, and I know I can beat you. We have history. That's all these guys need. I'm tired of, like, Orton and Triple H had this back at Mania 25. I know it's 10 years ago, but I don't care. They shouldn't have been doing home invasions for a world title. No, they just want the belt. Fuck.
It can work. It can work. You need. It can work depending on the person. So, like, one thing I wanted to give some praise to.
But WWE is bad at it.
They are bad at it. It is true. One of the things I wanted to give praise to before we wrap things up here, because I like to. We're negative on a lot of this. I want to have a positive couple of people that I praise. McIntyre is doing great things.
Oh, yeah.
McIntyre looks like money, and granted, I have to give the booking credit on this. They tend to protect him. Like, even in tag matches, he doesn't really, like, get abused that much. He'll eat some finishers, but you don't see him, like, getting beat down too often. That's more Ziggler's role on the team, so I'm happy that they're making him look good. Ziggler is doing great work, too, despite what they're giving him, which is not great stuff. But he himself, this is probably the most relevant Ziggler's ever been. ever. Except for Survivor Series.
It still seems odd seeing... Strowman, McIntyre, and Ziggler.
And that's where I stopped giving them credit, because even though I think Ziggler and McIntyre have been done really well, Braun has just been completely and utterly fucking trash. But we talked about that before, and that's just the way it is. Yeah, they ruined him. But
I like Becky. Becky still gets cheers. Becky's owning it and going with it, and they're kind of behind her now, and it's great.
Yeah, and I hope that they stay with it.
Stone Cold Becky is amazing. She's just doing it despite it. And I think maybe Daniel Bryan said, no, just fucking do it anyway. Do it your way.
Yeah.
And it works because it's actually working, and they're trying to portray her as the bad guy, but she's getting cheers and smiling and acting like a face who doesn't give a fuck. It's awesome.
You know for a fact, like, some people are going, oh, well, they know they screwed up, so now they're going with it, though, because it's working. And I know for a fact, based off of what Goldust being a dick is, no, they're doing everything in their power to keep her a bad or make her a bad guy. Like, everything in their... Because they want Charlotte versus Ronda at WrestleMania, and that's what they're dead set on. But the last person I wanted to give some credit to, somebody who I shit on quite a bit, so I want to give him credit where credit is due. Randy Orton is the most interesting he has been in years right now.
Yeah, he reinvented himself.
Oh,
really,
man.
really good.
And I was telling Tom on one of our Twitch sessions, I was like, all it took was he did a gimmick that I never thought about. This is a fresh gimmick. He just does things that gross you the fuck out to his opponents. Yep. It's so, and not Tommy Dreamer vomiting, like, he on Aiden English, he grabbed his finger and he put it into the turnbuckle post. There's a little opening where you use to actually, tighten and take down the ring. And so he put his finger in there, and it looked brutal while he was doing it. It looked so good. The Jeff Hardy screwdriver to the ear, so good. I hope that he keeps, staying inventive with this and keeps doing really, really, because it's getting over too. Like people are reacting weird to it. Go back and watch when he fucked up. Not Aiden English. It was Ty Dillinger. My bad. Same person probably. Ty Dillinger, when he fucked him up, and then also Jeff Hardy, like, it wasn't like holy shit. It was like, oh, like nobody wants to look.
Like people weren't chanting holy shit because they're legitimately like, oh god.
Oh, I don't want to look. Yeah, it's like I don't want to see that.
Remember when Orton first went heel? Not first one, but when he went heel against Daniel Bryan, and people were like, I remember the Road Dogg and type were saying like, well, but you wanted Randy Orton as a heel. We're like, yeah, we wanted sadistic Orton, not chicken shit Orton. He's a pussy. It's stupid. This is the Orton we wanted. We wanted Orton who doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. He's not on pay-per-views. He's not in title matches. He doesn't care. He's gonna just do stuff because he's like, I'm tired of it. I don't give a fuck. It's great.
I just like that he's like a Lesnar basically. Like he's actually a badass. Like, and I've always thought it's weird how WWE tends to prefer the chicken shit heel. Now there's a place for that. Miz is one of the best chicken shit heels they have. He's great.
Yep.
He's just really good at it. But that doesn't mean that just because someone's a bad guy, they're a chicken shit. Like there are plenty of bad guys in the world that are beasts and never get their comeuppance.
Just because they're a good guy, they're an underdog. Like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns should not be an underdog ever.
Oh, ever. No, he should be a badass. He always should be. His best reactions have always been when they pushed him like a badass. One
of my favorite bits was when he was interrupting the Rusev-Lana wedding thing and was like kicking stuff over and drinking the champagne. I'm like, that's good. Yeah, just have him be a prick. Because he's a cocky guy. Yeah. It doesn't mean he's being a bad guy. He's just like, no, I'm going to eat your cake. Fuck off. Yeah. It's good. That works. That's interesting. You know why? No one else is doing it. And he looks like he can get away with it. So
why it's really, really strange that they decided the best route to get him cheered was to give him 2 of his friends to help him beat up people in an unfair advantage. It's just talk about it a different time. But yeah, overall, I'm down on the product. I really am. I am not keeping up with Raw and SmackDown as much as I normally did back in the day. I try to catch one a week if I can, but I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in what they're feeding me. And I know the company and also, a lot of the other smart fans tend to tell me when I go on rants on Twitter, well, just, you support the company, you support the company. It's like, well, I always support the company. That doesn't mean that I'm going to support them while I hate what they're giving me. I'm not a fucking sheep or a zombie. If I want them to go in a different direction, I want them to go in a different direction. And it's not like NXT. We've talked about this before. It's not a situation where NXT gives me outcomes that I don't necessarily think I want, but at the end of the day, I go, that was awesome, and I don't care who wins. In WWE, they constantly aim to piss me off. All the time. It's like their
NXT,
goal.
Almost every time we're talking predictions or recaps of NXT, it's like, well, who could win? Well, this is who I think would win, and this is who I want to win. But you know what? If this guy won, it would go down this path, and that makes sense too, because they built up either option, which makes it unpredictable, which makes you want to see it and get invested and see where's it going to go. When you can just walk in knowing where it's going to go, sure, there's a cliche. The good guy wins at Mania is the kind of the idea. That's not like it's a bad thing for being tried and true. But when you can literally know Brock and Roman is going to go somewhere 4 years out, and the only reason it didn't is because Saudi money showed up. Yeah, that's a problem. There is things when it's predictable, you're not invested. I don't care about that part of it. But when you see where it's going and you're not sure, and you legitimately think either makes sense. Maybe Aleister Black wins and retains to fight against Velveteen Dream in a rematch for their title. Or maybe this guy wins and goes against that for that side. Either version works. That's good. That's how you want it. You want it to be unpredictable, like a UFC event. You don't know who's going to win because it's legitimate. You have no idea. If they can manipulate you and make you think that's happening, that's the whole point. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Like you said, we'll probably have coverage of the Super Showdown and also what's the Saudi show called again?
Crown Jewel.
All right.
You know what, Matt? It's like you're down on the product, but not to stretch this out much longer, but we don't talk about other stuff often because we often ramble long and long and long. But there's other things. Like you said, All In was doing his thing, New Japan. Yeah. Are you actually following other stuff?
Well, people are mad at New Japan right now because they fucked a big dream match up. Apparently, they're going to give it later. That was the whole point. But they fucked a dream match up by one. They took Juice Robinson, former NXT guy.
CJ Parker.
Yeah, I loved his theme, by the way. It was so good. It was like, whoa! It was great. But he was a very popular, was it United States champion or like IC equivalent champion, that kind of thing?
He was the US champ, yeah.
Okay. So basically he's the middle card champ. And very popular. A lot of people love him. He seems to be growing in popularity. They had Cody Rhodes take the title off him. And so a lot of people weren't happy about that because they like Juice a lot. So I think that people would have gotten over that. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's things are going to happen. You know, people don't keep belts forever. But what happened that really set people off was they're already rubbed raw right now, okay? It's like equivalent to when Daniel Bryan lost to Bray Wyatt at Royal Rumble years ago. People were like, fuck. But then it's like, oh, well, he's going to come out in the Rumble and it's going to be better. And he never showed up. So they did that. They had Cody come into that main event. And who was the main event supposed to be again?
Oh, God, it was Omega and...
The other one. I get the number 2 babyface guy.
Is it Okada or Ishii?
I cannot remember for the life of me.
Ibuki, maybe it was. I honestly forget.
Yeah, I forget. But I need to watch more. But basically, they put Cody into that matchup, and they fucked over a dream match.
It's going to be like in a couple days. It's going to be a triple threat.
Yeah, a lot of people are upset about this. So,
well, and like, because Cody, I get where he's going with his thing right now. It's kind of neat. I like it. It's like kind of like Austin Aries being the belt collector, but it's like belts that matter in a way. So it's interesting to see him going around doing this thing and kind of being like the new guy doing that. But now he's going after the IWGP title with Omega, where their match wasn't great. And it's ruining a dream match because Omega's like, whatever, we'll do it anyway. It's like, no, you're doing what WWE does. We don't really want that. Don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, this one's fixable to me because, again, I'm not really upset that, Juice lost the belt. I'm not generally upset when most people do, and I like Cody. Cody could make more money here. I mean, you can always say, I don't know their product very well, but you can always have Juice just win it back. I mean, like, you can actually build up an actual storyline and stuff, especially if Juice originally was supposed to be a heel. I've watched his promos, and he was definitely throwing F-bombs. I don't know if that's what they do in Japan, but he was definitely acting like an asshole.
No, but he ended up getting over despite that.
Yeah. Again, another Becky Lynch thing, right? So, I can see, like, I'm not mad about that. That's fine. I can see, though, telling people you're going to give them a dream match and then taking it away. But you'll get it eventually. They're obviously building towards whatever that match is.
No, I have more faith in them pulling off what they're trying here in that sense. And the dream match will come. Like, January 4th is the big Tokyo Dome show. That's not far away. Like, at this point last year, the Jericho Omega thing was starting to hit. Like, we already knew at this point for that. So we're coming up on that shortly. So it would not surprise me after this triple threat, no matter what happens, that title match, main event, dream match, is set for that. Because it makes more sense to do it at WrestleMania than to do it at TLC.
Yeah,
is the equivalent we're talking here. So, yeah.
All right. I really don't have anything else to say. Are you all good?
I think we're all good, yeah.
All right, cool.
Anybody else? Oh, wait, no one else.
We should be back to our normal time, probably about 2 weeks with at least Bomber back and hopefully a couple of the other guys. Where can they find us all, Scott?
Well, they can find all of them wherever they are. We have GuiltyPleasureCinema.com. That's mine. Cyclops Scott on YouTube and on Twitch. I do stream Sundays, usually just chatting about stuff, but also some movie-related things at 4 Eastern on Sundays. But I'm also on some of your stuff, which is getting rebooted. I'll plug those ones. Zion Mainframe Gaming will be coming back, and I'm also on Reckless Eating here and there with Canadian exclusives. And you can direct the details from that one and Jabba Radio itself.
Yeah, we're on iTunes, we're on, Spotify as well, like, aren't we? We're basically on all that shit. So if you go on to the website, though, was it just JabbaRadio.com? I never memorize exactly what it is, but JabbaRadio.com.
Maybe I should have done it.
I mean, I definitely failed Jake on that last predictions thing, but I mean, come on now. I never remember. So you can go on there, though, for all the details. If you want to join the Jabba Radio Prediction League, We have our own fantasy WWE booking league. It's not just WWE either. We do some of the other events as well, like TNA and New Japan. So if you do want to go check out all that shit, it's there. We're also on YouTube. If you prefer to have the convenience of YouTube over the other stuff, you can just find Jobber Radio on YouTube. And I'm part of Reckless Eating. And that's it. Thank you so much for sticking out with us. And we're going to go ahead, and he's going to fly over here, and we're going to fuck.
Yep, that's coming up. You'll see it soon.
Oh, it's up now.
Oh, sweet.
We'll see you soon, guys. Bye. Guys, bye. Guys, bye.